This week, NFL players reported to training camp. The Kansas City Chiefs are set to defend their Super Bowl championship, but they will be without their starting lineman, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who announced he is sitting out this season. He's just the second medical school graduate to compete in the NFL and spent 9 weeks in the offseason helping out in his hometown of Montreal during the height of the COVID-19 outbreak.
It was kind of a crazy offseason. You win the Super Bowl and then everything is shut down. It's a pandemic.
It was the culmination of a dream for Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, winning the Super Bowl back in February.
It was an amazing moment. We won in Miami. 48 hours later, we had the parade in Kansas City where like 1 million people showed up. And it was just amazing to be able to do that with your friends, your family.
The rest of the celebration, like vacation with his longtime girlfriend, was cut short. News of the coronavirus spread sent them back to Quebec, Canada, their off-season home.
Once you were back, how much thought did it take for you in deciding that you wanted to help out in some way?
Well, at the beginning, I feel like for everybody, it was like, how do we manage it personally? Everything is canceled and you're kind of frustrated about the situation. But at some point you realize I'm privileged. I still have a job. I'm well. My family is safe. So then you start thinking, all right, how can I contribute? How can I help?
Laurent was in a unique position to help, having already graduated from medical school. Drafted by the Chiefs in 2014, he'd gotten cooperation from the team and Montreal's prestigious McGill Medical School to follow a 4-year curriculum where he'd do 4 months of study while playing NFL football.
When I walked on that stage in 2018 and got that MD, it was one of the best moments of my life. And then once I lifted that Lombardi trophy, I feel like I was able to combine my two passions at the highest level.
Laurent traces his sense of curiosity and adventure back to his childhood on extended sailing trips with his family. He fell in love with football as a teenager, but in academics, medicine was not his first love.
I was more focused on engineering. But I realized quickly you got to be good with your computer, and I'm not really good with technology. So I kind of felt like medicine was the perfect balance between human interaction and science.
While Laurent was able to balance football and medicine while getting his MD, playing in the NFL kept him from doing his residency. Without it, he couldn't work as a doctor in a hospital, even in a pandemic. But he did get a chance to use his training working in a long-term care facility.
Did you hesitate at all?
No. If you think there was a crisis in the general population, I mean, inside those long-term care facilities, it was 10 times worse. So they needed people to go there and help. And it's only when I got the call saying you're starting tomorrow that I actually started asking myself questions like, am I allowed to do that with my NFL contract? How is it going to play out with my girlfriend, with my parents? How are we going to manage it?
This apartment was part of managing it as far as keeping his family safe. Laurent used it as a transitional zone after every shift to shower and wash his clothes before going back home. As for the NFL risk, he turned to Chiefs head coach Andy Reid, whose mother, by coincidence, was also a McGill Med School graduate.
He said, do what you got to do. You've worked all those years for a reason. And right now, that's the best thing you can do is to go back and help. And I remember him saying, this is actually bigger than football. It's about how can you help and save life or at least be part of a team who do so.
So for 9 weeks, Laurent followed his coach's advice, working as what he called a nurse/doctor/orderly.
What was the hardest thing for you working in this facility?
When I first started at the beginning, I was really focused on all right, give me a task and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Whether it's passing medication, changing diapers, feeding people. I quickly realized there's a difference between treating and caring for a patient. It's about making them comfortable and also making sure that they preserve their dignity. And for me, working in this environment, I feel like my mindset really changed.
And that is when he became vulnerable.
That's when you start interacting with human beings instead of sick patients. And when you do that, that's really taking a toll on you emotionally because you're taking your phone, you're FaceTiming, a patient's family, and you see the whole family, crying in front of their computer because it's the first time that they're actually seeing their father, for the past 8 weeks.
Bonjour, bonjour.
It wasn't all tears. Laurent was able to bring some joy. using his NFL status and contacts.
I reached out to two of my friends that actually play for the Montreal Canadiens, and I was like, guys, can you send me 2 jerseys, and can we FaceTime after my shift at 3 o'clock, and you're gonna make 2 patients so happy. And that's what we did, and it was an amazing experience for the patient, but also just for the personnel in general. Like, those guys were amazing, and they took the time to like talk to the nurse and talk to the people. And I think that was kind of my job going in there.
Once again, combining his 2 passions, football and medicine.
Those 9 weeks have been so rich to a certain extent, and so emotionally challenging. And I feel like people that have been working in those facilities for the past 30 years, we owe them a lot. And right now, more than ever, some doctors, some nurses are living in like trailer park because they don't want to infect their family or bring it back home to their kids. And to see that people are coming every day with a smile on their face, trying to bring joy and do good, it's really touching.
You haven't gone through your residency yet, but it seems like this is already making you a better doctor.
Yeah, for sure. It's been quite an experience, to be honest. It was not an easy one, but I think I learned a lot. Learning how to work with the team around you. There's no more hierarchy. It's everybody working together in order to better care for the patient.
Last week, Laurent announced he would sit out the 2020 NFL season. In a statement, he wrote, "I cannot allow myself to potentially transmit the virus in our communities simply to play the sport that I love. If I am to take risks, I will do it caring for patients." When we spoke in June, he had been planning to return, but that eventual final choice between football and medicine was something already looming.
How much longer do you play football, and when do you focus on medicine instead?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't have that answer. I always told myself, after a Super Bowl, maybe I'm going to call it a day, but
You can't now.
I can't. I just love football. I still want to be on that field. I still want to, go and win it again, and it's my passion, and I feel like once you stop playing football, there's no going back. I can be a doctor for the next 30 years, but if I can be a football player for the next 2, 3, 4 years, I think I'm going to be a happy man.
After talking with him, it didn't surprise me last week to hear that decision. It was really obvious that this had a huge impact on him. And I do believe he wants to play football again. Right now, he's trying to consider what he's going to do. Perhaps he could work in medicine this offseason. He has a great foundation with kids that he can work with, too. But it's just important to remember this was his decision. We talked about the NBA players. His personal decision, and we hope to hear from him again to see exactly what he will be doing this
You can
offseason.
tell how much he's thought about all this.
Yeah.
So much.
I don't know how you would go through that and not be changed, even as a doctor, but what a great way to start this medical career that he has.
And also the way he talks about the other doctors and nurses who are showing up at these places, the joy they have in knowing that they're helping.
Right, and taking care of these, especially elderly patients in these long-term care facilities, who that's what matters, their dignity at the end of the day.
And trying to talk to relatives.